It's 9 o'clock and I'm live. I have no idea what I'm doing. Apparently there's at least one person other than me in this chat. Well, that'll be interesting. So, oh, just me. Well, all right. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started since nobody else is here right now. Hey, welcome. Welcome to the stream. What are we doing tonight? We are attempting to install Tim Worthington's RGB mod into a top-loading NES. So I've got Tim Worthington's board and all the subsequent pieces that he sends with it. The only thing he doesn't have with it is the ribbon cable to connect board to the back of the console. But he does provide an NES video connector and a Genesis style mini DIN connector. So, and an audio out. But hey, we'll get this going. If anybody's been into the retro gaming hobby, then you're probably familiar with the NES and its lack of capabilities. It can only do composite video out. So that's kind of a problem. As I hit my knee. And so this mod puts RGB into it, and then once you have RGB, you can start doing other things like upscaling it to 1080p using external scalers. Another cool thing. So let's just go ahead and get this thing going and see how this goes. I've already taken the liberty of doing a bit of work on this already, so top cover already comes off. I've got an LED mod in here that I'm going to try and clean up in the process. Hopefully that, yeah, it's completely functional, but I probably went a little overboard on the heat shrink tubing and the length of the wires, but we can clear that up. I already got the shield off, and I actually have it. Let's see, where'd it go? I actually have all the original components to the NES. So by default, the NES, the top loader, only ships with RF audio and video. So there's the RF modulator. That's the thing that sets the channel 3, channel 4 back in the old days. And it literally just fit into this back plate, the power. A few years ago, after I bought this, I took the modulator out, and I replaced it with a composite amp. So this is a little circuit board from retrofixes.com. A couple bucks, and what it does is it takes the composite output of the PPU, amplifies it to the correct signal levels for composite video, and outputs it one of these wires. And then what I did is I also got a one of those 3.5mm jacks that you saw on like in the phones and stuff that has left channel, right channel, like composite video, and there's wired to that. And then you could just use a regular 3.5mm jack to 3.5mm jack or cable to plug it into your TV using regular composite cables. So that's probably the easiest mod you can make to the top loader NES, is to get composite video back out of it. The next step is what I'm going to do is go from S-video or go from composite video to RGB. And so we'll see how that goes. You can also, there's also a kit to put HDMI in these, and that's probably, for most people, that's probably, it's just as difficult or as easy to do as an RGB mod. And you do get 1080p video out of it. There's been some arguments on, like, if you have 240p, if you have RGB coming out of your console, then with an external scaler like the OSSC, then you can just push that up to whatever resolution you want. And eventually there'll probably be scalers that take 240p and bump it up to 4K. Do we need that? Probably not, but it'll be an option. So we'll get that out of the way. As you noticed, I am replacing this back plate. I replaced it a couple of months ago with a new rear panel from Laser Bear Technologies. It's a guy who does 3D printing, and so he does this 3D print. So what this does is it adds the Super Nintendo N64 and GameCube style multi-AV out connector to the back of this. You can get this with a like a Genesis or Mega Drive style DIN connector, but for me, I was like, I just want all my Nintendo consoles to have the same connector, so I went with this. It does make things a little more expensive, like on the component, like getting cables and stuff are a little bit more expensive for the multi-out versus the DIN, but I just kind of wanted consistency for the make. So all my Nintendo consoles will have a multi-out. See what's going on. I've been thinking this over. I was thinking this over a few nights ago. I'm actually not going to start with the RGB mod first. I'm actually going to start with wiring this up, because typically what you see in the videos is you install the RGB mod, which what you have to do is you have to desolder the PPU, put a socket in there. This sets like that, and then you solder your ribbon cable from here, and you run it back to whatever you're doing for your output. My thinking is getting all the wires soldered to this is going to be really challenging later, but soldering to the RGB mod is going to be, or the main board is going to be way easier, because it's going to be right here, invisible under the light, and I can actually work on it easier. So I'm actually going to start with this first. And like I said, it didn't come with any ribbon cable, but I was going through my trash a while back, and I found this old USB ribbon cable that came out of a computer that my family bought in like 2000. It's a 10-wire ribbon cable, like it's for USB. And when I compare that to what Retrofixes sent me when I did the composite amp, other than discoloration, that wire is the same gauge. So I'm assuming it's going to be just fine, because I mean, if professional modders like Retrofixes or Voltar or GameTech US are using this gauge of wire, this should work too. So I'm actually going to start with this, soldering it to this, and then I'll work on getting the RGB mod installed, and then we'll wrap this around and get it installed, hopefully. So this is going to be tedious stuff. Just going to move that out of the way, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to grab my crappy helping hands. Really don't have anything better. And I've actually went through and looked at the wiring guide for this. Actually, I'm going to flip it. So that's actually top. Compared to what the pinout of the RGB board versus the pinout of this. And I'm going to try and hopefully keep track of it all. First thing I need to do is use my lovely old solder paste, because I don't have any no clean, and I'm cheap, and I've got a lot of this stuff left over. I really don't plan on replacing it anytime soon. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these wires. I'm going to just give them a little twist. And hopefully solder them without melting them into pieces. Where's my solder? I'll just get out my crappy solder. And guys, you know, talk about having quality stuff. I've been using, I bought this coil of Radio Shack solder 15 years ago. I'm never going to run out of it. I'm never going to run out. So I might as well just use what I got instead of trying. And honestly, for the stuff I do, I'm not selling this stuff. So if it's for personal use. If I was if I was in a business like Retro Fixes or iFix Retro or Voltar, I would go out and get the $500 soldering station. I'd go out and get really good flux and solder, but I'm just using what I got. A lot of this stuff I bought at Radio Shack before, long before they closed. So we'll just go ahead and get this started. Did I have a sponge? I'll be right back. I need to put some water in the sponge. Oh. Okay, intermission's over. Stuff my sponge back in the soldering station. I have a cheap Weller soldering iron that I bought from Sears a couple years ago, so we'll just start. That's what I use. I did put a new tip on it. I played around with this. I'm using the canonical chisel tip, because by default this thing ships with a just a flat tip, and it worked pretty well. Some modders I know like to use the chisel tip. I've not tried this yet. It probably works really well, but it's kind of big for what I'm going to be doing, that for at least my skill level. The canonical is just a little bit smaller, but still get that point that allows you to work really well and stuff. So let's get this going. I'm just going to put a little bit of solder on. A little bit of solder on soldering iron. Get my flux over here. And dip a wire in the flux. A little bit of tin on those wires. They'll help them solder on easier, and it keeps them from fraying too. So. Like I said, this is going to be tedious work. Don't have any background music for you guys. Okay. Just a little bit of flux and a little bit of solder. Things go really well. And honestly, I didn't realize how much flux made a difference to soldering until probably like 10 years ago. I'd tried soldering and I never had any much luck with it. It's like you watch the videos and it looks really easy, and then you go do it yourself and it just sits there with the iron going forever, and it never feels like it's getting hot. Never feels like the solder's melting onto the wires. And then I discovered flux. Man, that makes the world of difference. My wife is messaging me. A little bit more soldering iron. Yep. Hit the wrong one. Hit the wrong one. If I was smart, I'd just dip them all at once. But I'm not. Alright, I think I got 2 more left. What's those? No? Okay. These 2. 2, 3, 5. That one. Absolutely no flux on it. There we go. There we go. Okay, so now we have 10 wires. We have 10 wires. And we're gonna have some fun. I'm trying to get this guy to line up. So I'm looking back at my notes, and it said I wanted to go a bit like this. I want to fan them out. And the idea is we'll go up to the bottom of the board, kind of like that. I think you can see that very well. And we'll see what happens. Up so that you can't see it. I think we'll just try doing 2 at a time. I mean, once I get the first one in, then it'll go way easier. Just a little bit of flux. Happy little trees, right? I'll load up my soldering iron. I know this isn't the proper way to solder, but when you're getting things started, it is the easiest. And there we go. All right. And that's 2 wires done. Takes nothing to get it started. All right. Next 2. Try and feed in. We get harder the more we go. 3 and 4. And I'm just going to take a little bit of flux, drop it on the board. And we'll solder. 4. I'll pop it off the helping hand just so I can see it easier. Work with a little bit easier. We're talking about some really I'm gonna try and see if I can get more of these in. And then we'll just go bam, 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 bam on the soldering iron, and this will be done. Now I'm thinking, did I get this backwards? Yeah, I got it backwards. Oh well. I have to note that on my sheet. I go to solder the other end. And we can signal test, and we can do a signal tester to make sure we don't things not going where they're supposed to. Come on, there we go. Maybe? Maybe? Ah. All right. Some really crappy flux. It does work, even though it's Radio Shack, it's old. It does its job. It melts, it makes the solder flow, and at the end of the day, I mean that's really what's important, right? Why does it keep saying my audio bandwidth is? It shouldn't be terrible. Just check this. Okay. No. Okay. Audio's fine. Just shut up, YouTube Studio. All right. So, whoop. Put a little bit on there because I want to make sure I get the wires up nice and close to the board. All right, now we're just gonna go down the line. If I do this correctly, we have one soldered connector. A lot of extra flux on it. That's what we're working on. Oop. No, I'm not going to focus. Okay, anyway, so that's part one. And I'm just going to cut this off to length when I need it. The next part is the scary one. Because I need to remove this chip off the board. Yeah. So take that off. I'm going to set that aside. And this is where things can go really bad. And honestly, I'm a bit nervous on doing this. But I've practiced a couple of times. In fact, I probably want to practice again before I do this. Before I unsolder all of these pins. And probably the one that's going to be my biggest pain in the butt is the ground. Because I was testing out, I've been practicing desoldering. With this is a little, this is a PCB from a mouse. As you can tell, I have lots of flux on it where I've been testing. And luckily it's got a little dip package. It's not a through hole. Like the hole is not lined with copper. It's just punched through and then there's a solder pad on this side. So it is a little different, but it does give me a good practice on, you know, using the desolder gun to pop the solder, to vacuum the solder off. So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm actually going to practice on this before I get into actually desoldering the Nintendo, because I really don't want to break it. I mean, it's not my childhood Nintendo. I have no idea where my childhood Nintendo is. But, you know, they're not cheap by any stretch of the... Well, they are cheap by some stretch. Like a new next-gen consoles are going to be really... But still, like $100 for a top-loading NES is quite a bit of money for you to just throw away. So I don't have a fancy Hako desoldering gun. I've got this. It works. I mean, I tried this the other day. I was like, oh, where have you been my entire life? So it's really simple. All you gotta do, all I'm doing is pressing the bulb, going in, and then heat up and then sucking, and then sucking. Then I can do that again. All kinds of smoke, because we have flux everywhere. Don't inhale the smoke. I have the package done. And this just goes really, really fast. Like, if you tried doing this with like a solder braid, it would take you minutes. I'm making a lot of smoke in here. Almost done. And I know I've missed a pin. That one. So, if everything goes to plan, I can get a tiny pair of tweezers out. Because I'm a person who buys piecemeal of everything. I don't have it. Fancy iFixit kit. Let's see. I got these flat ones. We'll just go with these flat ones. That loose? Yep. That third one's not loose. That one's loose. Loose. That one's loose. That one's loose. That one's loose. That last one is not. And maybe. So you know what? I'm just gonna go over them again just to be safe. Because once this is loose, it will literally just, at least this small package, it will fall out of the PCB. Yep, see this left side's already is literally falling out right now. Yeah, I think this other side's falling out now. Yep, okay. Now, no pressure hardly at all. Oh, I say that. And now it's stuck. Yep. There we go. We're out. And none of the pins are broken. So that's a good warm up. And now I think it's time to try it on the real thing. So just to reorient myself, this is the PPU. So it is all of these right through here. Now, unfortunately for you, I'm going to kind of, well, I could probably, let me see if I can zoom this in. So you get to watch a zoomed in, a really crappy zoomed in view, because I'm going to need to have as much patience, steadiness as I can. So holding it up to the camera is not going to be that good of an idea. So I'm going to start with one side, go down it, make sure there's a good layer of flux. PCV, because the flux is what's going to protect, I think, if I've listened to people correctly and everything's right on the internet, the flux is what's going to protect things from burning. Because the one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to burn the pad. If I burn the pad, I'm kind of screwed because I really don't have the technical detail of scraping a trace and soldering a wire to it. So here we go. And I'm probably going to leave one pin, on this side soldered until I get this side done, and then I'll do the last two, and then it should just fall out. Here we go. Not going as well as the other one. And that first one, problem. But continue on. The problem I think happens is it gets too good of a seal, so it doesn't suck the solder out. That's better. You just need to leave it there a little bit longer. It's going okay. I definitely have to go over them again. And some come out way easier than others. Yeah, I think what happens sometimes is it's kind of tied around the pin, and so there's not enough space for the air to move, the pump to suck the solder out of the hole. So you get this situation where there's just not enough pressure from the pump to pull all the solder out of that hole. Like that one's going to have to go over again. That one went pretty well. That one went well. That was going to be a problem. Yeah, it's just not good. I'll have to put some more flux on it. So let me go over those again. There's definitely some that went way better than others. This first one didn't go very well. These two, these three. And it could, and I have to look at the pin out because I was testing, and if if one of these pins is in the ground plane just sucks all the heat away from the, and I can't get the solder hot enough. A little better. You can feel it too, like it just like your straw got bent or something. Those three are going to be a problem. I said I was going to leave one of these soldered, and when you run out of smoke, that means you run out of flux. And when you run out of flux, things start to burn. I'm going to give those three right there one more shot. If I can't get them out, then I'll go on. And then what I may try is just using a soldering iron to heat it up. And maybe a wick or a solder braid. Get a little bit more out of it. None out of that one. Alright. Well, I mean, I got most of them, and I have to work on those. I'll just have to work on those few that's giving me a problem, but let's go on to the other side. And let's see if we can have more luck over here. And I'm just taking some solder flux. Keep stuff from Radio Shack from 10 years ago. Coating the pins. I mean, I'm just using a painting brush from my wife's stuff, so don't tell her that I'm using her. I stole a brush from her art supplies. And we'll try this side. So far, so good. So it's coming out easier so far, but it doesn't mean it will. Keep doing that. My wife doesn't come down here in my basement because she's going to wonder, like, why is the house so smoky? I think that last pin's a ground. It goes into the ground, so it's going to be That's gonna be a problem. All right. Let's see how we did here. Good. A little bit of flexing. That one's good. 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 That one needs a little bit of equation. I think they're just stuck to the wall. The solder is pretty much removed. So I'm just going to use a soldering iron. I think I want to add solder. I just want to remove solder. I'm just going to use a little bit of heat to move these pins around. Kind of spring loaded. Almost burned my hand off. They kind of got a little spring to them, so they're kind of pinching. Go back over a little bit. We'll go back over them a little bit and see if we can get any more solder out. Yeah, the problem is like the chip is actually like kind of pinched. The pins are a little bit more narrow than the holes, and so it gets hot. It melts the solder, but then it leans against the wall of the hole, and then it dries or cools, and then it just sticks to the wall. I mean, it's to be expected. All right, let's see what that side looks like now. Good. Nope. Good. Nope. 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 Good. Nope. 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 And this is going to be the most tedious part, because I don't want to, because if I'm not careful, I'm going to break a pin, and then I'm going to be screwed. I'm going to have to reach out to all the modders, because nobody's really doing mod repair. Like the big modders that names got known, like Voltar, Game Tech. A lot of them are not doing. I don't know about Voltar. A lot of them don't do repair service anymore. So if I screw this up, yeah, it's gonna. I found somebody who's really good at electronics locally, which probably wouldn't be that hard. Where I live. But I really don't want to have to resort to that. Unless I got solder stuff all over my brush. That's too much pressure. That's how you break pins. Look, that one's good. If they would just stay off the wall. Fine. Just stay off the wall, things would be fine. I really don't have a order that I'm doing these. I'm just kind of spread the heat around, I guess. I could say I'm spreading the heat around. I'm working on one side of the chip and then taking a break from it and working on the other side of the chip. I'm just scatterbrained. Let's see how that's. Let's see if that did anything. Nope. Nope. Yep. 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 Maybe I practiced too much and this tip is getting clogged. That's a lot of stuff that just fell out of the tip. That might make a difference. Better to fall up over there than on the board. Yeah, this would probably be better. This would be faster with a Hako, but those are $200 and stop that. And I don't think I would use it that much outside of this one project. Let's see. Nope. It's almost. Still being a problem. That was definitely me. Okay, let's work on the bottom board. Let's work on the bottom again. And let's work on the bottom again and let's see if we can get the rest of these pins loose. Like that one's just stuck to the wall. That one's just stuck to the wall. And it doesn't take anything. It takes very little pressure to break these pins. That's why I just keep going over them over and over again. I'd rather try and get them loose, spend more time trying to get them loose than brushing it pulling on it, and then breaking a pin, breaking a pad, ripping the pad off. Yeah, that's just gonna be bad times all around. I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't have the skills to fix it. Or probably I could attempt, but you know, there's a chance that any attempt I do to try and fix this, if I mess up, is going to make things worse. Um, I feel like I'm making a little bit of progress on this now. Holding the iron at an angle now. Pin. So there's not a seal around the pin. Hoping I can get some of that solder sucked out. Again, people do not inhale the fumes. Those look pretty clean. Let's go across the bottom again. Almost to the end. Got a better feeling about this run. I'm going to say you did it. Probably didn't. Especially this last pin. Like I said, I think it's going into the ground. Or it's going, or there's a 5-volt plane on this guy on the board. It's just sucking up all. Okay, minus that one pin. Let's see how we're doing. Pretty good. I see some. There are 3 pins over here that are not melting. I can see this. I can see the solder. Yeah, you can. With focus, you would be able to see it. You can see the shininess. Those three pins still have solder on the top, so they are not loose. I gotta fix those three. Other than that, looks pretty good. Let's see. You can see light through most of them. Good. There's just a, they're not kind of stuck to the walls of the. Just kind of stuck to the walls. And if I were to pull on them, they could rip that via straight of the board. And then we have a bad day. One, two, 4. You just want to take a, I just want to take a solder braid and just kind of heat those up. But I know if I do that, I'm going to screw up and touch the CPU and all kinds of other bad things. You notice I titled this video Attempt 1? Because I didn't think I was actually going to get this done tonight. And surprise, surprise, I'm probably right on that. I've been going for an hour, and it's going okay. Having problems out of some pins. It still looks like I have a lot of solder in it. Oh crap. I probably didn't mute. Now I'm getting tired. Yep. Nope, 6 is free. Or say that. 6 is bending on this end. I don't know if it's actually. Nope, I don't think it's free. Alright, let's go work on another section. We'll come back. Let's go work on these 2 pins at the end. Painting happy little trees, right? Happy little trees. They're getting hot. And I just, if you're loose, don't feel loose. Feel pretty secure in there. I give it a little bit of wiggle. There is no moving it. There is no moving that. That's something breaking. I do kind of want to do like take the solder iron and then heat it up on this side. That. Just to see if it would get that solder to move. This pin over here had the solder still around it. And that's going to be the death of this. If I screw it up, it's going to be because I thought that pin was loose and it didn't, and it pulled the V out. That's what's going to be the death of this chip if I screw up. And you can tell if they're loose. If they're loose, they spring. And they hot. I mean, they spring right now. Give them a little suck, cool, and then they get stuck. Now I've stopped talking, so I know I'm making very entertaining videos right now. Nope. Nope. A lot of solder there. Okay, I am going to try. You just want to try real quick. Little bit of solder flux. Those 3 pins that still lost solder here on the top side. Get my braid out. Again, radio check. Just want to see if it will work. Soak up the solder. Of course, I could try the other tried and true method of put more solder on it and then solder and then suck it off, which I probably should have started with. Give that a shot. All right. I'm gonna go over these 3 pins right here. They're the 4th, 5th, and 6th pin on this side. And I am going to put a little bit of solder on there to see if we can soak up the solder that's at the top of the pin. Because it is not cooperating. Flux on that. Let's try again. And it might be time for me to put a new tip on this desoldering iron. That might be clogged. Do I have... Hang on. I gotta find it. Alright, couldn't find it. I have a drill stand guy. So I'm just wondering if I go over it with the tiniest bit I have, will this clear up? Tiniest bit I have doesn't fit. I need a paper clip. And I had a paper clip. I have no idea where it went. Found it. Does feel pretty crunchy in there. That feels better. Ew. Hey, my tail's not burning either. Good. All right. Okay, it feels less clogged. Six. Kind of look better. Or kind of, or looks like it needs to go over, needs to be gone over again. Flux back on that just to be safe. Listen to Lewis Rossman, you can't put too much flux on that, right? Nope. 3's good. 5's not. 6. Alright, hey, we made progress. One pin out of all that work has finally broken loose. Four's kind of loose. I don't think it really is loose. I see solder on the top of it. 5 is not loose. Can't see what I'm doing, can you? I'm just going back over it with more. Trying to make sure. Hopefully I can get up to that solder that's at the top of the pin. And make it molten. And then we can suck it out. This is where, you know, the desoldering gun would come in handy because it can apply constant vacuum, where I get. Could I attach it to a vacuum? That is the real question. Yeah, I pulled out a lot of solder. Oh wait, I just put a lot of solder on, so. Those look better. Let's see. That one's good. Hey! That pin's loose. That pin's loose. That pin is not. 1, 2, 3. That is not loose. It is loose. 9's good. 10's good. Good. 12's good. 13's good. 14's good. 15's good. 17's good. 18's 19's got. It's not. Okay, so I said 7 is not good. 1, 2. The last, and the last 3 pins are not good. Okay. And apparently pin 1 isn't good either. Hey, you know what? I need a pin there anyway to keep this thing from falling out until I'm done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. No flux, no heat transfer. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. Flux it up again. Let's see, what did that do? Good, good, good. Okay. So now we gotta do the last 3 pins on that row. Same thing. Add a little bit of solder. And then take a little solder off. This is fascinating videos, I know. Not as good as Voltar. I also don't curse as much as Voltar. I am not a talking head. I don't think I'm cut out to do 6 to 8 hours of Twitch streaming every day. Alright, let's see if that had any progress done. Yes. I think so. I mean, they move, but I don't know if they are loose. They don't feel loose. They don't feel loose is the problem. They bend, but they don't spring like the rest of them. So I'm assuming they are not loose from the PCB. Wrong pin. And I might have to go over them again with solder. That one's bending, but I don't think it's not. Oh man, this is getting frustrating. Easy mod, they say. You don't need a lot of skills to do it, they say. Just need $100 vacuum. The solder have a stupid hole. I think most of that solder got stuck on the eye. Nope, it bled through. Like too much of it bled through. You can actually see the solder on that side, so it's a bit too much solder. Doesn't take much solder. How are we doing now? Nope. 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 I mean, it did suck the solder back down the... But it is not loose by any stretch of the measure. Okay. Alright, I'm going to take a break from that side. I'm going to go back to the bottom side. Good. Nope. Nope. I really don't want to have to buy a $100 desoldering handle gun just to get 4 pins done. Crap. I think I actually just scratched a pad. I think that one I scratched. Yo, focus. Focus, focus, focus. It's almost there. Almost there. It doesn't need much. A little bit of solder. Enough to make my life hard. All there is. That's all it's keeping me from getting this project done is just getting this one chip removed without breaking anything. Oh. I think up ends. I think I'm going to stop here at the moment. And reassess what it's going to take to get these pins out safely. So the last thing I want to do is scratch the pad too much that solder won't stick to it. I get a little bit of pressure to see. And like one pop loose from this from its home safely. Just trying to see if any others will. That's all I'm trying to do right now. So far, the answer is no. Not budging for you, buddy. Such a scary sound. Okay, it is. I've been going at this for an hour and a half. I am going to call it for today. Made some really good progress. We got a lot more progress to go. I want to clean this up a little bit. I'm going to kind of get rid of this solder flux so it doesn't kind of ruin the board until I come back and work on this again. It's been fun. I got 2 likes out of this video, so thanks for anybody who stopped by and watched. I didn't see any participants in the chat, but whatever. Didn't expect to see anybody, and we'll try this again another day and see if we can get those last few pins out. Or I may try and do it off stream and we'll continue on with the easy stuff. This is the hard thing. Getting this done is the hard part, and once this is done, then everything else should go like cake. Till next time, have fun.